Showtime! Magic time.
Hey
Bruh.
everyone, it's Marcross. I don't know, whatever. Jason,
I'm Jason.
awesome. Liz,
Liz.
Jin,
Then
Yoonie.
F you.
Together we are.
France 5.
Jesus.
Dude, if there was another indie tokusatsu like France 5, I would want to support that. Well, there are kind of, but like, do you guys remember tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
Yes,
Toku.
I do, unfortunately.
Currently, it's looked down as like a not good show, but you also got to realize that it had a budget of like one ham sandwich. I miss shows like that, you know, like Mystic Knights of Tirnanog.
Do you guys know what
Stuff like
Los
that.
Luchadores is? It was on the same like ballpark as like VR Troopers. It was like a try to be Power Rangers, but not. It was about a bunch of like teenagers becoming wrestlers and fighting crime. And it was bad.
I think in a lot of ways you could say old Toku is pretty like not as good as you would expect them to be.
Bonkers, it's excellent. That's just great television right there.
I really want to point out that outdated doesn't automatically mean bad. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
a point towards being bad, but it doesn't automatically make something bad because, as Liz
Right.
just said, a Black RX is actually still pretty interesting to watch.
I need to watch
said
Black
stronger.
RX.
Oh, well, stronger too. So I actually really like Z-Cross and Geo or Zeto. You can't say
Yeah.
you can't say
Zeto's-
Geo anymore. But yeah, Zeto was like
The moment you say Geo,
Zeto
you
is
get a
just
lot of people
excellent.
saying.
Here's the thing.
moment-
I saw Zeto a few days ago with a few of my friends, and that was just an excellent show. I mean movie.
yeah.
I just loved it. Like I'm amazed that you could just pull off a Kamen Rider like that in just one movie, and that's really excellent to me. All the practical effects and direction and everything is just really fun.
I always get Zeto and Jay mixed up.
They do look alike. You can
thing
tell
is
by
that-
the you can
There's
tell by
this
The
the
white
lines.
streak on the
You can
helmet.
tell by the lines and they have a slight shade difference in the
Yeah.
middle part.
Jay has like green lines on him.
What do you guys think is the best Showa suit?
Ichigo, I feel.
I think Ichigo is timeless, but like timeless as a classic.
In my humble opinion, I'll say Amazons.
Ew.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's cute. Shut the fuck up.
No, you're entitled. You're entitled to your.
I'm gonna be biased and go with Zeto. I think Shin technologically is very up there because it's beautiful how they pulled it off.
Yeah.
The design is supposed to be ugly, but like it's still ugly.
It's not
I
Bakuman though.
don't necessarily like. I miss the like bike suit, like the leather suit
Oh yeah,
design
Yeah.
for Ichigo, rather
The
than
one he broke his
Now
leg
it's
in.
spandex.
yeah,
They
the
had
where it's all blue instead of green, and it's
I
nicer
love
looking.
that too. Yeah.
They did have several suits in the beginning. That the more darker one I think is really cool still, and then they had like this really dumb giant helmeted suit that like flopped around everywhere. I don't know
Yeah.
what it was for. I think it was just a quick replacement, but still.
Oh yeah.
Would it be wrong to say I prefer the reboot Ichigo suit over the original? The one that appeared, I think, in that
The
random
first?
reboot
That is
movie.
mad
The
at-
first?
yeah.
The first or Ghost?
The first.
Ooh.
That one's not
Ooh.
bad. No,
The
I
first
prefer that one
is
over
a different
original
thing though. The first is a different thing though. It's supposed to be a soft reboot of the actual like original
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a soft reboot. It was like a hard one. Like it was a
I'm only calling it soft because it was pretty
So
I'd rather take that suit than original Ichigo's. I'm sorry.
So there's gonna go on a little side tangent, but I'm dreading watching the first and the next for History of Kamen Rider.
Oh, no.
I was planning on doing it immediately after Kiva, but then I started watching like the first 10 minutes of the first, and I was like, nah, I'll save this for later.
Well, you need to do it because I'm
Yeah.
not watching those movies.
we should all watch them.
Okay, so personally,
Yeah, I'm down.
I don't think they're like the worst thing Kamen Rider has ever come out with, but it's also like not even average to me. It's just
I mean Master Red's in there, bro. Master Red's
Will you ever do a history of Kamen Rider Amazons, or AKA Amazon Riders?
Oh yeah, I get that question a lot, and yes, I will. It's just gonna be either before or after Ghost, but it'll be there. Still, we definitely should watch the first and the next because I dread watching it by myself.
Yeah.
We'll sit with you, Marcos.
On your own on that.
I had enough romance with Kiva. I don't want to sit through all that again because.
And here's the thing with the next, it's basically the Ring.
Oh no!
I don't know why they just made it like a soft remake of the Ring.
I will say though the suits are really cool, and I really like that they manually put on like the mouthpieces for the helmets.
The mouthpiece, and you can see the hair in the back. Of
that's sick. I love that.
My dream remake of Ichigo would probably be one where he puts on the helmet and the faceplate. Like,
oh yeah,
I do like the natural, like just organic sort of look to Shin, but at the same time, like. I just also really like the original manga of Ichigo, where he had like scars and then he'd like kind of turn into the Kamen Rider. But like to me, I feel like the mask to me was like that's more of a logical progression into like more realism towards the suit, I guess. Like on top of that organic body or transformation to me.
I would love to see more. I guess not reboots, but. What Amazons did for the original Amazon, I would love to see that more because there's potential outside of being the edgy, bloody, it's dark guys. There's a lot of potential.
I think it was Gokai Orange that said he wanted a Shin reboot.
Oh yeah.
Maybe yeah.
Shin definitely deserved another chance because he got hard by like everything else that was happening at the time. Literally Shin prologue and then nothing after that. So like, okay, so I'll say I don't really like Shin that much, but it deserves another chance.
I don't think most people do. The movie's not very. It's a weird movie.
I feel like Zetto.
If you were to sit down and watch that movie, it's weird. It's a really weird movie.
So hear me out on this idea, guys. It's gonna be super weird and it's probably way out there, but. I would love to see a new series starting from like a rebooted Z-Cross, and then we get more single series spreading from that. So like, let's say we have the 10 writers from Z-Cross and they're all together and it's super cool, it's super awesome, they fight Badan, and then they tease Amazon is going to get his own series, V3 is going to get his own series, yada yada and stuff like that. I mean, Amazon has his own series, but like, aside from that, I think that'd be
cool.
super cool.
That'd be really cool, actually.
Isn't that like the Spirits manga?
Basically, but like in a different media that isn't manga or in a book, because I don't read books.
A televised version of Spirits would be really interesting to me. Let's take out that sexism about like declassifying Tackle as a Kamen Rider, and let's not have that.
Man, give me a live action of Kaiser's novel.
Oh no, no, Jin. Jin. Okay, moving on from that.
It's rated X.
I've been so interested in seeing anything coming out of those novels that was it didn't have to be live action, but it could be like animated or storyboarded or anything that us Westerners can get a hold of, because we don't read Japanese, and I doubt there's so many people who want to translate those novels because they're huge and they take a while to translate. Really, I'm really interested in that X-Aid novel. I actually want to read that Kaizen novel too. For curiosity, of course, but I would love to see all that stuff, and even like Futo Detectives, the double manga. I would love to see like a Western adaptation, release, dub, anything like that. Anything to get the Western fan base more into that, I guess.
The double novels are really interesting.
They are.
I think they're like seeing an embodied version.
I haven't read those. I need to though.
Definitely not for kids. But they are interesting. Maybe I'll spoil this, but it happens in the double manga. They showed it off recently. There was like I think it was Luna Fang.
It was Fang Trigger.
Fang Trigger. To shoot with Trigger, the Fang spikes come out and it's like a bow and arrow, and it's like, dude, I want to see that on screen. That's awesome.
Whoa.
Maybe in 2022 when Philip decides, to come back to Rider.
If they can get Takeru Sato back, like a miracle, the impossibility that they brought him back in Heisei Generations Final, I'm sure they can do something to get Philip back.
Yeah.
I mean, the most we're probably gonna get is just a literal like cameo or like a face reveal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Or maybe he just, does more voice lines than actual acting in the on camera acting.
When was the last time Shotaro appeared? It was
2014.
Wasn't it in Ace?
he had the white suit and he became Joker.
Yeah, I met Shotaro's actor at Japan Road Heroes a couple years ago.
Oh,
nice.
I have a picture, but it doesn't look good, so I'll just hide it for the rest of my life. But still, like meeting him was so cool. Double's one of my favorite seasons, so like just meeting one of my favorite actors or Kamen writers ever. It was so cool in person, and I mean, my mind was going like a mile a minute. I wanted to ask when he would be in Kamen Rider again, because it's so cool to see him, and he's so like chill and happy, and he loves being in Kamen Rider whenever he makes a cameo. That kind of stuff is so genuine, and it feels so great to see the actors coming back, reprising their roles. Like when Kota came back and Forza came back and AJ came back. Those were great.
I want to
Seeing
ask,
him would be really, really nice to see, because I honestly think that Shotaro's acting is probably some of the best we're ever gonna get.
Yeah.
I like to ask, which writer actor would you guys love to meet?
Without a doubt, I want
Banjo's actor.
also Eiji is one of them for sure. I also want to meet Tsubaki Takayuki. Is that his name? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to meet Tsubaki because he's a very interesting person. That's all I can say.
Is it because he?
No.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna censor that. all right, Liz, you were saying.
More PG talk. Kotaro Minami's restaurant.
Who? I'm sorry.
Black
Kotaro
Heart.
The actor
Minami?
for Kotaro Minami.
Oh.
Oh, Billy. Oh yeah, Billy's Steakhouse.
Billy the Kid. Yeah.
Billy's Steakhouse. Yeah.
I would love to meet Shinosuke's actor.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you mean
Oh,
Japan's
yeah.
boyfriend?
Yes. I want to meet Japan's national boyfriend in person. Shake his hand.
One thing that I won't ever forget is that Japan Road Heroes 2019. Someone made a Photoshop saying that Tsukasa Kodoya Deca's actor
Right,
would be
yeah.
there, and I hated that. Okay, so the moment I saw that, I messaged my friend, "Hey, so Deca's actor is gonna be there. Let's buy our tickets right now." And I was like
It ended
saving
up
up
being
money.
fake, yeah.
I was so ready to buy, and then
Crossing worlds.
and it ended up being fake, dude.
That's the AR Sukasa.
Yeah.
So
brown
this is the
hair,
world of the Western Kamen Rider fan base.
Yeah, dude, we meme a lot. I'm sure Japan memes a lot too, but in the Western fan base, there's a lot of that.
Do you think he'd genuinely come to?
What?
I
you think-
think so. He loves Rider.
Yeah.
Does he?
Oh yeah.
He does.
If you see him in promo material for like anything he's ever been, he like references Kamen Rider once in a while.
And so
I
does
mean,
all
like,
now,
On his
too.
YouTube channel, he referenced it a lot.
Yeah, that too.
I do appreciate Japan's Kamen Rider memes. Like they're always like pretty funny.
Vulcan's channel is
appreciate
literally-
that, Kamen Rider Ghost opening was really funny.
There's one thing I really am disappointed about the Japanese Hero Convention that Blade's actor showed up in. That nobody dressed as Garen and stood at the doorway peeking at him. Like someone should have done that. Just to see if you would just yell, is greatest line. Tachibana-san! Had really betrayed us!
There was this one really dumb meme, and it actually came from a Japan side this time. It wasn't a Western meme. When the music video for "Life Is Beautiful" from X8's movie came out, they had the credit scenes where it said like "Life is Beautiful" by yada yada yada, and so then for some reason that became a meme in Japan, and they had the "Life is Beautiful" text over like really funny Dan Croto faces. And,
What?
Okay, so to us Westerners, it wouldn't make too much sense, but it's just the most surreal thing to see "Life is Beautiful" and then Dan Croto's face right behind that.
And the final shot is just him at the waterfall naked.
That was one of them.
Oh no.
They know that had to be in the V cinema. They could not put that on the show.
That was God Maximum, right?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I want to say Kamen Rider is one of the most surreal things I've watched in my life, and that scene alone is so it's so out there, and even in context, it doesn't make sense.
Why does he need to be naked for a new form?
He doesn't. He just doesn't. That's the weird thing. That's the weird thing about it. So a lot of people that don't like that Dan Kuroto became a meme, but here we are laughing about him being naked on a waterfall. Dude, I love that stuff. Okay, like a lot of people think it's dumb, but I like it because it's dumb.
Like, just think about it. Like, yeah, his more serious character was great, but will he really be that remembered if he wasn't a meme?
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, go back and say, "Oh, Dan Kuroto was such a great character." Like, I don't think they wouldn't unless he became a meme. That's my honest opinion.
What's your guys' stand on like first quarter villains becoming comedy relief characters?
So I was thinking about that the other day because I figured it didn't happen as often as people think it does.
Because everybody assumed Schwartz was gonna happen to Schwartz.
Yeah, but it didn't.
It didn't. Yeah.
I think it's blown out of proportion. I mean, I don't mind it. It's just I wouldn't want it to happen either.
Yeah.
I just hope the guy doesn't have to happen to Hirobi.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that same approach that like JoJo does. Like they'd have like a very small antagonist, and then he becomes like their best friend and somewhat of a comic relief.
Yeah,
I think the show that did it best had to be Drive with Chase.
Yes, definitely.
Right, absolutely. Because he's a robot. He can literally do anything. It'll probably still be intimidating and funny.
Yeah, like when he became, when he joined the good guys, he honestly, was just trying to learn about human emotions, trying to be more like a normal human, which was fucking hilarious because he was being more genuine.
Yeah. Oh, this must be heartbreak.
And then he could also be melodramatic.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna sound weird, but I'll defend Dan Kuroto and Gen Toku becoming memes, but I won't defend when it happens because it just happens.
It's not a good time for them to.
Yeah, definitely, especially in Build. Like the evil stuff was happening, the end of the world was happening, and then look at my funny shirt, guys.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
It kind of sucked, but I cannot deny that I fucking laughed every time. That's the moment that Kentoku was showing off his shirt. I'm like, oh my god.
The yes no shirt is iconic. I want one of those.
I want one.
And then they had his fucking standby music playing. I was gonna say, oh, which one is it gonna be?
I've been wanting a collection of funny Kamen Rider shirts, but one I remember the most is this Tupac shirt that appeared in Double.
Oh, the dancer kid.
Yeah. That was so weird to see Tupac in like a Japanese show with Kamen.
And the kid was so serious about dancing too.
Yeah, and so I like that it's just there. That like no one makes reference to it. He just has a shirt with Tupac on it for the.
No, but that episode was kind of like weird. The whole purpose was for Philip to learn a dance move. Literally nothing comes of it after he learns the dance move.
But Jason, he did the dance move as an attack.
Yeah, he did, but like
that's it.
Remember the episode?
Is that it?
A lot of cookies and became fat.
Oh yeah.
When I rewatched Double for History of Kamen Rider, I remembered how much fun I had. But there was also some really dumb moments and really dumb.
There's really dumb moments, yeah.
There was this one episode. Double's fighting Kirihiko in his in his Dopan form, and in the beginning, it's like, why are we fighting him? Find out. In this episode, and then like literally 2 minutes later they're fighting, and why was it written like that? It was so weird. It didn't. Okay.
Can I just say Kirihiko? I didn't think of anything when he first appeared in the show, but like the episode where spoilers, the episode where he dies made me love him. For some odd reason.
Yeah, I feel that.
I really wish he got like some sort of thing in jail where it's like, Rider time, Kamen Rider Nazca.
No, but like, because like he was like, oh, I love the city, and then the way he dies is really, really impactful.
Yeah,
and it just made me really like him as a character, even though we never see him ever again.
You know what, Shin? I kind of wish he did become a Kamen Rider. I know
that
would make sense,
really cool.
But yeah. It would have been awesome to see him turn into a good guy and become a Kamen Rider.
Absolutely.
They were still experimenting.
It just pained me they didn't even make it through like halfway into the series. It just hurts.
Yeah, it was like the
Yeah, but
first
then we got what's her name? Taboo chick Nazca.
Who cares about that bitch?
I don't.
Dude.
I'm glad. Spoilers alert! I'm glad she died.
Oh.
The whole Sonozaki family is kind of. I mean, I wouldn't say they're just kind of average to me.
Yeah.
Just
They're just a
average
messed
villains.
up family.
Very.
If we're talking about Double, I have to bring this up in like every conversation. I always bring in how much I hate the Geo arc with Blade, and I'm saying that because it's so disappointing to me on what happened in that Blade arc that the disappointment carries over to episode 49 of Double when spoilers again, when Philip got revived and when he didn't need to be.
Right.
The disappointment comes from the story not being satisfactory, I guess, because Shotaro still had a lot to learn. He still had to learn how to fend for himself. He still had to learn how to be independent. He had to learn more about himself in general, because throughout the season
he had to quit his talk with like Philip, like oh, let's go eyeball.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Yeah.
and then Philip shows up like hey, what you doing? You know?
But like the twist with him being inside the extreme memory and then his sister swapping places, it was weird.
That was weird.
It should have happened in the O's and Double crossover movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Like, give us that time to actually feel for Philip's departure, then come in the crossover when you can bring him back.
Yeah.
To be honest, like Double is like one of the only seasons to genuinely like make me cry.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna.
The acoustic version of
yeah.
Cyclone.
Cyclone effect, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
dude,
it
don't
hurts.
even remind me, dude.
Man.
If we're gonna bring up times we cried in Kamen Rider, there was only one time where I cried in Kamen Rider, and that was Blade's ending. I'm not gonna spoil it here.
Of course, yeah.
I was watching through Blade for the video, and I was interning at an office at that time, and so during my downtime, I watched Blade and wrote my notes. I cried in that office, and luckily no one was there, but like I had tears in my eyes, and I was like, dang it, this is the first time I ever cried during Kamen Rider, and just like it was just a beautiful moment. It ended the way it needed to be. I loved the way the characters finished and their arcs finished, and then Geo messed it up, and then Geo messed it up, and
then Geo messed it up.
I think the one writer show that made me cry the most had to be Forze. That ending hit me so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Darwin in the note.
Episodes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Forza has had its ups and downs, but those last few episodes really hit so fucking hard.
definitely.
Yeah. I think one of the times that I could really know for sure that I cried over in Kamen Rider was the very first show that I watched in a Kabuto.
Oh no.
Kamen Rider Drake.
Oh.
It's not like one of the most explicitly sad ones, but it's like Kamen Rider Drake, his whole ambition in the show, Daisuke.
Yeah.
He's protecting himself, and he's protecting this little girl who does not know her own identity, and when she does find out her identity, she thinks that Daisuke is like a complete stranger, and I feel like that's like that's kind of that made me sad as a kid.
Oh.
Ouch.
The right before that scene where she comes across him and doesn't know who he is, she starts crying, and Daisuke's in clock up, so you see the tears go down like in slow motion. That was beautiful.
It was a really good directed scene too. Yeah.
I want to say Kabuto is underrated, but like those scenes are just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Here's the
Kabuto
thing
is
with
underrated.
Kabuto.
One of my favorite fight scenes in Kamen Rider as a whole is the fight between Kabuto and Dark Kabuto.
Yeah.
Where they're both in clock up mode and they're both like jumping on the rubble.
Yeah. The special effects surprisingly hold up pretty well.
Absolutely.
In
The rain
modern day.
effects.
So I don't know how they did it, but that rain slowdown is so good. Even
it's all CGI.
even today, like all that rain being CGI, like that's. Kabuto is so good, guys. Like, I don't know, it's just so good. I love Kabuto.
I've heard this one
Grandma
argument
said
about
this.
I've heard this one argument about Kabuto that it retracts the same notes as Fi's, but here's the thing. I feel like Fi's was not as like it was pretty good in like the effects department, I feel, and like it's flashy enough, but at the same time, like Kabuto for me just hits those emotional notes for me, and that's what's really cool about it. Like I could get into a character like Soji Tendo, and I can understand characters like Arata and everyone. It's like I feel like Kabuto's like the real draws to that is like the writing of the characters and stuff and their ambitions and everything. And that's what I really like about the show.
Yeah.
When it comes to talking about or analyzing Kamen Rider or Tokusatsu, it always comes down to action, story, characters.
Right.
There should be a balance, but if there isn't, then the one that outweighs the rest should be very, very good. And Kamen Rider, I think, hits that balance most of the time perfectly. The characters are really good in Kabuto. The story is really awesome in something else. But like, it's just when you watch a show and you have those three things like perfectly. Like I think X8's a fantastic show. The characters are good. The story's good. The action is fantastic. Kabuto, the characters are good. Story's okay, but the action like makes up for it. Like, guys, I love Kamen Rider.
That's how I feel about Kamen Rider Drive. For me, it hits all those balances. Like, the characters like weren't the best at first, but as the series went on, I started to see the characters almost like a fucking family for me. Like, I just like that was like the first Rider series where I knew all the characters' names by heart. Like, there was not a single character I didn't know. I just loved the whole special units team and all that. It just felt great seeing all them interacting.
Yeah.
That's the accomplishment you have to do with like a show like Kamen Rider, like with its own like series format. You have to have that like constant characterization. You have to have that like I guess build up towards these characters and make them lovable and everything. And that's what I really appreciate.
The best one, in my opinion, had to be Honganji, the leading guy in the special crimes unit.
Yeah,
you know, the guy who actually like weird obsession with fortunes.
Yeah, that one.
He was the best one because he was always goofy until the moment came where he actually got real serious. I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, Genbachi. What's his name?
He was fucking great.
What was your guys' first Kamen Rider?
The first one I've seen. Okay. First of all, I watched Power Rangers when I was younger, and then I found Super Sentai from YouTube clips, and it was Geki Ranger.
Yeah.
And that was my first Sentai season. But then I found like toy channels that did like Sentai and Kamen Rider, and I found what's the giant tank thing from Double called?
The Hardboiler.
And I found the Hardboiler. So technically, Double is like one of the first Kamen Rider things I've ever seen. But the first season I've ever finished build.
Oh no, it's the Revolgary, and then there's the Hardboiler. Yeah.
Isn't the Hardboiler the motorcycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got into Kamen Rider around decade. I tell the story a lot, so I'll just make it brief. I was watching Link Carl's History of Power Rangers, and then a recommendation came up for the superhero, the 1 and 9 grade hero battle ending with all the Super Sentai songs coming up. Like, I once I watched that, I couldn't stop watching. I watched like every day, like 10 times a week, an hour, a second. I just loved it, and I remember vividly. I told my friend Dallas, who was like getting into it as the same time as me. I told him, "So we're never gonna watch Kamen Rider, right? Super Sentai is the best. It's super cool." And he was like, "Hell yeah, bro!" And then, well, here we are. I love Kamen Rider. I stopped watching Sentai. I just
for me, my first rider was Kamen Rider X8, and it was around the time where I was in really bad health.
Oh. And
I was like in pain a lot of almost every single day. And I remember my friends, like other friends who might be listening to this. They said, "Oh, let's watch something." And I said, "Oh, what about Kamen Rider X8? We've been interested in watching that." So we started it. and that was basically my introduction to Rider. I just fell in love with Exit and its style. Like I was at first a bit, about it because live action special effects not really my thing.
Yeah.
Until I watched Exit, I was like, holy fucking shit, dude. And that was like almost like my coping mechanism throughout those times. I was like in really bad health. Like I was watching it in the hospital too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, and actually, it helped me pull through out of like, that bad year and all that. And thankfully, I'm in good health now. And basically, I have this attachment to Kamen Rider because it was there when I was like, at a very bad point in my life. Sorry to get sentimental, but it's why, I'm very connected to Kamen Rider. Like, I criticize it a lot, but
I'll get sentimental after Liz tells her first Kamen Rider.
Oh yeah, my first Kamen Rider. Basically, the lineage was that I was on YouTube at my brother's house, and I was looking at Power Ranger stuff. Power Rangers SPD was playing at the time. I loved SPD, and I was looking on my brother's computer, and I saw like a clip for Die Ranger, for like the roll call, the very first roll call in Die Ranger, and I have these very vivid memories of just going back home and looking at Die Ranger, and then like, oh man, I just started looking and watching all these like clips at first, but like the first real one, like this was like 2006, so at the same time Bokenger and Kabuto were playing at the same time, and TV Nihon were kind of subbing both of them at the same time, and I really loved Bokenger. That was my first Sentai, and I would also watch Kabuto at the same time. For some reason, I looked at the Showa series also, and I started having a love for them, and like the first Kamen Rider merchandise I got was a vinyl figure of Ichigo, and I it was like, yeah, oh my god, that was when I was like 8 years old. I loved it. Since then, I haven't really had like I haven't really gotten into the community as much, but like just these last few months, I've been like, oh yeah. Just these last few months, I finally entered this community, and I started like really talking about Kamen Rider and stuff, and it's like really been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I'm the same thing.
I try to avoid the community in general. Like, there's some really good apples in it, but I just try to avoid the entire community. I'm just gonna stay in my own little corner.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was as well. Yeah,
we're happy to have you, Liz.
Very.
I'm happy to have you guys too.
Did you want to say something, Jason?
My story is not like as extreme as theirs. When I first found Super Sentai, it was mostly just me watching like clips on YouTube of like Geki Ranger, Go-Onger, and then so on. But then like there was like a point in my life where I took a break, I guess. For some odd reason, like I got just the urge to check out what Kamen Rider was because I knew what it was, but I was not familiar with it at all. It was mostly just Sentai and such. And then at the time, Build was the season going on, so I decided to check it out, and I loved it, and I still love it to this day. And then my next season was actually Drive and such. So I don't know. It just kind of sparked from there my love for Kamen Rider, but also like I never really got into the community as well until like recently. But I'm also very glad I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have met some amazing people.
I'm gonna get a bit sentimental too.
Go right ahead, dude.
So normally I absolutely do not talk about my personal life. So this will be like the very, 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 very rare occasion where I do. But the last couple months have been a little tough for me. The least of my worries was my car getting stolen, since a lot of stuff was going on. 01 was airing, and I tuned in every week, and I sat there watching. I was enjoying 01. There was a few times where we watched it together. Liz, I think Jen and Jason were there too, and like I had this smile on my face watching 01. Like it was my escape. We finished watching Heisei Gen Forever before recording this, and like there was a line where one of the characters was like, "Kamen Rider's my escape," and then Sento says, "That's okay, but there's also real life to deal with." And that hit me so hard rewatching it, because like it is an escape, and it's so good.
It really is, yeah.
And you also got to remember that there is real life to deal with, but it's okay because Kamen Rider is there too. When I was watching Dano for the video, like that was around the same time where I was in that bad rut, and I was watching through each episode. I fell in love with the characters. Each episode was happy, but it was also a tragic kind of happy where maybe someone died, but they were able to get through that with the characters of the week, or maybe the Imogen were having their shenanigans. Haha, isn't that funny? Or maybe even Zeronos, his own wife is forgetting him every time he transforms. But I still feel that because there's still this hope coming through that. There's still this genuine feeling of like, hey, life is hard, but it'll be okay. And Deno really, really hit that with me. Same with 01. 01 had those episodes of like, humanity isn't all that bad, or AI can actually feel something, and that's okay. Oh God, I'm gonna cry. Someone else talk.
I'm kind of tearing up myself. I can't wait till people make a meme about this. Listen to these poor losers fucking crying about Kamen Rider.
Well, 01's effects really like get me in a way that like makes me like love Kamen Rider as a whole. Because the first episode of 01, obviously, it's honestly a masterpiece to me.
Here's the thing about like us talking about like the emotional impact of Kamen Riders, because like this whole time we barely mentioned like the merchandise side of it. Like we were just talking about the writing and how it affects us and everything, and that to me that's like the ultimate appeal to Kamen Rider. And
exactly.
Like yeah, it's driven by toys, but like at the same time there's still like a mature like side of the writing. There's like a mature like outlook on these topics that wouldn't get represented in something like Super Sentai or something most of the time.
Oh boy, I love my Bill Driver. I can't wait to watch a new episode. Oh my god, Black Hazard killed a guy.
Just watch out, because
murdered.
Some writer fans are gonna cling to that. Oh, Kamen Rider is mature. Like, dude, it's a kid's show, but it can still deal with mature topics. Calm down.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like it has its own right to be a kid's show, and that's perfectly okay. Like that's cool.
One of my friends put it best: Kamen Rider is a kid's show, but it's the kid's show I care about.
Exactly.
Ooh, I like that.
As much as we were like putting all the faults on Heisei Generations Forever and everything, it's like that still kind of like represented that whole like generation appeal where like people of all ages kind of sort of like understand Kamen Rider and like it, and like just like the kid character, I forget his name. Shingo. Yeah, he loves Kamen Rider Kuga, and that's like the darkest one yet. It's basically like a Japanese drama series that has like death and just like I don't know. It's just like
it's funny because
there's like an overarching appeal across many ages, and I feel like that's a pretty important part to Kamen Rider.
It actually broke my heart how Shingo was like so excited to show his little brother Atsu. Watch Kuga with him, and then you see the photos of them in the end growing up with each other watching.
That is so nice. I really do like that.
Hard. Yeah. Go ahead now, Jason. I'm sorry.
It's funny that Tid tried to prevent him from watching Kuga, which probably would have been for the best.
Oh, don't say that, you monster.
Yeah.
No, it would.
Yeah, let's put a little clip of Kuga beating down the porcupine Gorongi.
The Gorongi. Yeah.
All right. So let's get away from all this sentimental stuff.
Right.
Right. So, aside from being sad, there are very happy moments in Kamen Rider. One of my favorites is well, I guess. Oh man, I love Deneb. He's so happy and he's so carefree, but he cares about.
Oh, Yuto.
He cares about his friends so much. I love Deneb.
And Yuto especially.
Yeah.
Though my most favorite happy moment in Rider has to be like, yeah, I'm sounding like a fucking drive head. Shinosuke's and Kiriko's wedding.
Oh,
dude. So happy.
No.
So hard.
No, my heart fucking cried when he went, "Oh, you're smiling." Oh, and she's like, "No, I'm not."
And she couldn't hold him back.
Yeah, and then spoilers, I guess, but like when Shinosuke gets revived, and she starts smiling, and he goes,
"Yes."
There's that smile, and then he closes the door and turns to Trider on. That
Oh god.
that's that's actually one of my favorite like Final Form debuts.
Oh,
Like, it's honestly one of my favorite Final Form debuts because of how like, Shinnosuke is not gonna die, but you wouldn't expect him to do it. He'd revive himself in such like a badass way. And plus,
you mean Shinnosuke doesn't die?
Slime is so good.
Yeah.
You were saying, Jason?
no, that's it.
Good.
Thanks.
My happy moment is like knowing that Yusuke in a Kamen Rider Kuga is alive at the very last episode. I know I said last episode to describe the fight between him and Daguva Zilla or whatever. But Daguva, yeah.
Oh,
that fight. His name.
That fight was heavy when I first watched it.
Yeah.
One thing I like to say is that opinions always change. They're ever changing. Even I've changed my opinions several times. But
how dare you?
Oh, you're right. But that final fight with Kuga versus Daguva, like the first time I watched it, I was like, dude, this is really friggin' boring. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, dude, this is really friggin' awesome.
Yeah. Like
Kuga's
when I was watching
badass.
When I was watching that fight, it was like, oh, okay, they entered their forms, but then like they suddenly punched each other out of their forms, and Yosuke literally had to like beat supposedly sort of a human person to death to stop them from drowning the world in darkness. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
Why do this to Godai? And Godai isn't getting hit so hard too. Like, Jesus Christ, it was just a brutal.
And then they set him on fire.
No, it wasn't like in their forms either. They were both in the human state. Like that was the final fight. Jesus.
Does that mean Yusuke's human form is his final form?
Probably. He knows 2,000 skills.
He's technically a Karangi too, so it's like
there's this awesome image of like it's a weird looking Kuga. He's pointing to himself and he's like, I'm Grongi, and he's like super confused with his face. And if I can find it, I'll post it. But
it's Grongi.
So it's great.
Am Grongi.
Again, the same parallels of when I was first watching. I was like, dude, Kuga's so boring. But then rewatching it, it still holds up for surprisingly. I like Kuga so much.
I recently rewatched it, and like honestly, I was never bored in any episode. I was really really into it because it felt like a Japanese drama.
Yeah,
I think, with Kamen Rider in there, but I was like so into it, even with the characters as well, and all the positivity. And then that slow change throughout like the middle of the series where things get, a little more gloomy because things are getting, a little more difficult for Kuga and all that.
I've said this before, but I don't think Kuga is a Kuga-focused show. Like, Yusuke is there sometimes, but like the characters surrounding Yusuke, they are fantastic. They go so in-depth, but like at the same time they say things that like still matter today.
Mika, that's another sad moment in Kuga was Mika's father dying, and then she's at like the train station. That was so sad.
Oh no!
Right.
Dang. You guys have probably seen this going around Twitter. If you're listening to the video or if you're on Twitter in general, someone posted. I'll mention her name if I can find it in time. But someone posted screenshots of Kuga, and they said, "Oh, I can't believe this holds up in 2019," and that's because the screenshots are of the teacher that Kuga or Yusuke's friends with. And he says something along the lines of, to tell the truth, I no longer understand education. The children themselves say that they have no hopes for the future. In that case, what should I be teaching them? That hits so hard because that's from like a 20-year-old show. And it still counts today.
It fits today. Definitely fits today.
Kuga is a work of art.
I just want to shout out. Her name is @CoronaNuva on Twitter if you want to follow that. Thank you. But yeah, Kamen Rider, right? It's just.
What's that?
I hate Kamen Rider.
Yeah, it just sucks. We should watch Tokuger instead.
Dude,
just go watch Ultraman or Garo. Those are better tokusatsu.
Yeah, Garo's great because there's like fight scenes
I need
and
to
they
watch
go
Garo.
ju.
There's romance.
Bro,
good romance.
And Tsukasa's in it, dude.
I can't recommend Garo enough. It's such a good show.
I need to watch Garo.
You do.
Please do. you'll stay for the
I
romance.
need to watch.
Trust me.
I need to watch more Ultraman because I never really got into Ultraman.
Just watch Orb, in my opinion. That's a good starting point.
I started watching Rube,
Leo's great. Leo has really
but
good...
I just kind of cut away from that because I didn't really find it interesting.
Here's the thing with me and Ultraman, like, I want to get into it so badly, but it's
just really tough.
There's so much to get into with Ultraman. It's overwhelming, but the hardest thing is that, like, for example, Orb, the show Orb, like Ultraman Orb, the season, the 20-some episode show, that's only part 4 of a 7-part story. You know, I don't know where to find the rest. I don't know where to find the other media. I don't know. I just want to watch a show and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, the most I could say is like all the Ultraman seasons are not like, you know, strictly connected. Like, yeah, there are these other story parts, but it's like not mandatory that you watch them. It's like you can watch this Ultraman series and still enjoy the rest.
Right.
That's how it mostly is from what I've seen. Because I jumped into it not knowing shit. I was like so scared, but I know just watching the seasons, there's all this extra stuff that you don't really need to see. It just gives like extra lore bits for those who just, you know, are that deep into Ultraman lore. Which I know one person I follow on Twitter who just loves Ultraman.
Here's a good example of that is Ultraman Jade. It's technically like a sequel to it's the longest name. Mega Monster Battle, Ultra Monster Battle Galaxy.
Yeah.
The movie that featured Belial. But like, here's the thing: like, you only have to see Jeed to watch like the whole relationship between Jeed and Belial, and I feel like that's pretty cool.
And the rivalry between Belial and Zero. Zero, the one guy who hijacks every single movie and show.
You were gonna say, Jason?
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I wanted to try and watch Taiga because I heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah,
it's really good. I feel.
I will say that what I've watched of Ultraman is actually really good. I think Rube is like my favorite season that I've seen so far.
Rube.
Rube. I remember when the scans came out and they were like, "Dude, the Ultraman's name is Lube." But
I remember that.
I've seen Jeed, Rube. Unfortunately, Ginga was my first introduction to it. I've seen Tiga, Neos, but still, I do recommend same thing with like Orb and the newer generation, but I do also want to get into people just not wanting to get into older shows because, well, they're old and outdated. Old Ultraman is good too, okay?
Yeah. I've seen some old Ultraman stuff and it's pretty good.
I dare argue that old Ultraman like holds up the best compared to a lot of Showa era shows around that time.
Yeah.
Well, not just around that time, especially like around the 80s where Super Sentai is a little bit harder to watch.
Oh, you just went there.
Well,
the only Ultraman scene I've seen...
Watch Flashman.
I don't.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
I remember seeing a clip of the original Ultraman where so there's a kaiju in the season the costume is Godzilla.
Oh yeah, G-Rat.
It has like a head fin.
Yeah, and he pulls it off and he plays Toro with it.
Yeah, and that's the only clip I've ever seen of like vintage Ultraman.
Yeah, I remember back in 2008 there'd be videos titled Ultraman versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they just took the suit.
So Ultraman Taro's season, it was super gory for some reason.
He'd like throw his boomerang head and then like they'd fall apart. The kaiju would like fall apart.
Yeah.
Ace, and here's the thing, Ace was even more gorier than that. And that they just had to tone it down because there were actual complaints there.
But when you brought up Godzilla, I did want to get into a little bit of Godzilla talk. I've had Godzilla requests for the longest time, but you see, Godzilla is an enigma of itself. How do you talk about Godzilla?
If I were to recommend...
Mm-hmm.
If I were to recommend something from Godzilla to watch or to get into, I'd say watch Shin Godzilla.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
that's on my list.
It's honestly the best Godzilla film I've ever watched, and it's kind of what got me into the entire franchise.
Here's the thing about Shin Godzilla, guys. In recent memory, people have been memeing on it because because so many people love Shin Godzilla, and that the older Godzilla Showa Heisei aren't anything like it. But like,
yeah, they are.
I want to say Shin's my favorite. I want to say Shin's my favorite Godzilla, but I can't say that because, or else I'll get memed and my opinion won't matter.
But it's true. It's honestly true because when I go back and think about it, GMK is a really good film. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The original, of course, but anything in between any of those, it's just a blur to me. Because obviously,
the Heisei movies were all right. I'll say
the Heisei movies were good. The ones with Kiryu and Final Wars was kind of okay.
I need to check out Godzilla. Honestly,
I will say that even though my personal favorite is Shin, I do like the older Godzillas. I watched the King Ghidorah movie with Mothra and Godzilla. I watched it with my fiance recently, and it was still really good. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. It was a good Godzilla film. There was the action that you wanted, and it was cheesy, yeah, but it was great. And a lot of those Godzilla movies are just as good too, and I love them. But the newer movies just hold up so much better, you know?
Yeah. You want to talk about like it's franchises that just have like incredible amounts of sequels that just branch out into different like timelines and stuff. Like in movie circles, everyone's talking about Halloween and how there's so many sequels to Halloween and how they're different from one another, and that they just have weird connections to that they don't like their own continuities that are apart from each other when they don't need to be. Like, think about Godzilla. It has like, okay, so there's Godzilla Raids Again, and then there's GMK, then there's the 1985, but then there's also the Heisei movies, which are kind of not connected with the 85 version. Then there's Shin Godzilla, which is a remake or reboot, whatever.
Reboot, yeah.
It's just like sequel onto this original source after sequel, and it's just like that I can understand how hard it is to like follow the entire franchise of Godzilla.
Yeah,
because of that.
I really respect the entirety of Godzilla's like franchises. I grew up on like mostly Asian pop culture and such, so I knew what Godzilla was, I knew what Ultraman was, but then knowing what Power Rangers was and just joining this whole entire like I was gonna call it a cult, no, this whole group of Tokusatsu, this whole community of Tokusatsu.
That's a great way to put it.
The Toku cult.
It's a cult.
Yeah.
But joining it made me like respect everything a little bit more, especially Godzilla, because of how important it is to Tokusatsu in general.
Yeah.
So.
I really want to stress that even if you don't like older shows, it is very important to appreciate that without those older shows, we wouldn't have like the Shin Godzillas or the Kamen Rider builds and Zero Ones. Like, you have to appreciate that it all started with a man in a rubber suit who would get a heat stroke. You know, that's where it all started.
And get his hair set on fire
in a suit that was made out of cement for some reason.
It was, yeah.
It was made out of cement.
It was. He also got the suit caught on fire.
And the suit made last minute where even the suit actor could barely move in it.
He passed out and he lost like a tons and tons of weight.
I remember
he did that for years.
They had the similar suits that they didn't really radically change the suits until like what was it, like the 80s or something like that. And I was wondering, until then, what were they thinking of having this like a ginormous and really heavy suit to like one skinny Japanese guy that can barely hold it up? You know?
I mean, by the second movie, which is Raids Again, which is with Anguirus, they had to slim the suit down, obviously, because he's gonna fight another monster, and being in that heavy-ass suit would literally kill you.
I really appreciated how in Shin Godzilla... Oh, by the way, this is not a stroking off Shin Godzilla thing. I just really like Shin Godzilla. So
it's so good. It's so good.
I really appreciated how they had an actual like I think it was robotics and an actual like suit, but they enhanced it with CGI on top of it. And I think that's the way to go with tokusatsu. I mean, it might cost a little bit more money, but it looks so good on the big screen. There was this one particular scene in Shin Godzilla where in his final form when he's standing up and he's like this ginormous hulking beast that nothing can stop. There was this one scene where he was walking through buildings, and they used like an actual suit for that, and that looks so real. Like I was blown away by how
the
good
CGI
it was.
in Shin Godzilla is actually phenomenal, because there's a scene where his first, technically a second form, but it's walking through like a small like river, and there's boats and cars flying in the way.
Yeah.
That's all CGI.
Oh really?
All of it's CGI.
Yeah.
It looks insane. Rubble is going down like the stream and everything. Boats are flying everywhere. That's all CGI.
The
really
water
hot,
CGI.
I thought those were miniatures.
There were some shots that were made from miniatures, like I forgot.
But still,
there are some miniatures, yeah.
It was great to see it in theaters.
Oh, you saw it in theaters, lucky.
If you want to see like the Shin Godzilla within like made kind of with those practical effects and everything, but like but it isn't very CG animated. You should check out a giant God Warrior appears in Tokyo. That's
yes.
Yeah, Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi worked on it, and it's like basically what they were probably shooting for at first with Shin Godzilla, but like it kind of like fell apart there, and like they had to do the CG. And
to not sound pretentious, a giant God Warrior appears over Tokyo. It is a beautiful film. Well, I say film, but it's only like 10 minutes, 13 minutes. I highly recommend watching that. I'm gonna plug High C here real quick. He made a video on it, and it was very great. But Giant God Warrior appears over Tokyo. It's 10 minutes. Please sit down to watch it. It is beautifully made. It is. I'd even say it's a masterpiece. Like the miniatures are great. The suits are great. The effects are great. The very minimal story is all it needed to make something so beautiful. It was okay. I know I'm stroking that too much too, but geez, Tokusatsu is so good, guys. I can't say it enough. Toku is an art form, and so someone else take over.
Well, here's the thing with Giant God Warriors. It's also like pretty essential Tokusatsu in my opinion, because like it was made to like show off exactly what Tokusatsu is like. The miniatures, the after effects, the like the explosions and everything, like, and it was all made to like advertise an art exhibition of showing off every like art and like prop and everything from Tokusatsu, and that's like really cool to me. So like I feel that sort of cements itself as essential Tokusatsu to me.
Agreed.
God, I really want to work in Tokusatsu so bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shout out a few indie Toku here, but I really gotta appreciate the people who work on their own Toku on like a very minimal budget. Like maybe all they have is like an iPhone and maybe like pieces of cardboard for their suits, but as weird or cheesy or bad or great, no matter what, it's so good to see people passionate to be able to do something like that. There's this one called Jamingers, made by
Deca Mexican.
Yes, that looks really good. It looks phenomenal for being indie Toku. I
love the silver and gold Rangers.
The Immortal Red Fox
helmets
is another one. Also working with Deca Mexican. Immortal Red Fox, that's a great one. If you want to make one, please. I really want to see more Toku coming out like this, because I kind of want to make one of my own. It costs a lot of money, but if I could, I absolutely would. But yeah, if you guys want to make your Toku, please, I highly suggest, just go for it. It's a beautiful art form, and even if you have an iPhone or a flip phone, record it, have the passion. And hey, I'd love to see it. Message me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I would love to see it.
Put my Toku out there.
Put it out there.
Yes, please.
I think we hit all the bullet points.
Oh.
We talked about Sentai, we talked about Rider, we talked about Ultraman, we talked about Garo, we
Yeah.
talked about Godzilla.
Talk about Power Rangers, bro.
Armor Hero XD.
Armor Hero?
Fuck those American shit.
Armor Hero? Hello?
Armored Hero?
Armor Hero.
I never watched it, but I'm interested.
I'm probably the only one who
Yeah.
watched it here.
I watched Armor Hero XT.
The dub version.
Oh yeah, we never talked about Metal Heroes either.
Would you guys like to save this for another time? Because we just hit the hour and 10-minute mark.
I need to take a place to stop.
All right, everyone. Good night. I think... Guys, please, I'm not a brony. I just say that to bother people.
I believe you. Kinda.
All right, so yeah, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Follow me on Twitter.
Follow me on Twitter too.